All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 661 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And I think today is going to be a controversial episode. I think some people are going to disagree, and that is fine. I want you guys to open your minds and let me know what you think. Don't, hold back, because I think I'm right on this one. I know it's an opinion, and you're supposed to stand on your opinions or whatever the case may be, but I think the Atlanta Falcons played a masterful game on Sunday. I think they did everything pretty much correct. Now, you had a couple of players. That didn't do everything correct. With that doesn't define the entire team, but collectively, this team has played a masterful game against the Carolina Panthers. And Coach Arthur Smith, even though I do have a little bit of gripe with him, which we'll talk about later, I think he drew up a pretty good game. Like I said, I will be criticizing him a little bit later, but overall, great game. So we'll talk about that. Also in this episode, we're going to do stock up, stock down. That's what we do on Mondays, kind of like Monday morning quarterback. We talk about what we like and what we dislike about behind some people that were either on the field or on the staff that nobody really talked about. Because the guys that we know, the Jesse Bates of the world, or you see what Davis Brin did for Georgia Southern, those guys, absolutely did phenomenal. But we're going to talk about two guys or two people that are on the staff or on the team that actually done something really nice and not so nice. And that's where stock up, stock down comes in. So we'll talk about that, and we'll just go along with the episode. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So if you want to listen to the podcast outside of the YouTube space, it's there. And if you're not on the YouTube space, you have a avenue to watch the show as well as listen. So if you're over on YouTube or Rumble, hit that like button. Let people know what we're doing over here. I'm trying to grow this show, and hopefully we'll be very successful at that. And it's all up to you guys. You guys make it go. And everybody that's on the podcast avenue, give me a high rating and let people know what we're doing. Georgia Southern, Atlanta Falcons football, that's what we talk about over here. So let's get into the show. I will say this. I did not like how this game started, but I absolutely love the way this game finished. When we look at the Atlanta Falcons, looked like they could have been on the field a little bit longer in the preseason, because clearly it looked like they were not ready or prepared to play in the regular season. Caleb McGarry, he was one guy that was getting beat by Brian Burns a lot, but second half they actually fixed that. There wasn't that much pass rush. Obviously, some of the play calling was not the best, but when you look at everything, all things considered, the play of Jesse Bates, the play of the rest of the secondary, the front seven finally getting at Bryce Young. You saw the running game do what it do. The passing game, although it wasn't a lot going on with the passing game, it was very efficient, which we'll talk about that as well. This game played out basically everything the way that we would want it to play out. We had 83% passing from Desmond Ridder. The running game was absolutely phenomenal. Bijan Robinson has arrived. The defense played lights out in the second half. Well, you can make a case they probably played lights out the entire game. And the special teams, which wasn't really existent, they played all right. So overall, this game was played very, very well by the Atlanta Falcons. Give Coach Smith some credit. I will give him that. There is some criticism to go around, which I will talk about a little bit later. But masterful job. Playing like this, and I will say this, and I know some people may not agree with this, playing like this could win you a lot of games for the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, you play like this, you could win 10, 11, 12 games. There's with one caveat, though. One caveat, and I'm kind of going to get into what I wanted to talk about. My gripe is you have to pass the ball more. You have to distribute the ball more to your playmakers, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, even Jonnu Smith. They need to get the ball more. Hell, Scotty Miller. You brought Scotty Miller in. You need to get these guys the ball more, because if you do that with this running game And this defense who took away the ball 3 times, you're probably going to win. Look, listen, I'm going to say this right now. If you can distribute the ball more and get the ball to your playmakers, Pitts, London, Smith, as well as Bijan, Cordell Patterson when he comes back, and you get Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson the ball as well. If you could distribute the ball with all those 6 or 7 people on offense and the defense playing like this, you can win 14 games. You can win 15 games. This is a very tough defense to get around. And I know, albeit it was Bryce Young or whatever the case may be, I get it. But you got to understand, this team has a very good running game, and they couldn't do anything with that running game, the Panthers, that is. You have other teams in the NFL right now. You may have like 2 or 3 other teams in the NFL that play a complete game. Now, there's other teams that are up and coming we may not know yet, but you know the 49ers, you know the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cowboys actually look good, but I'm writing the Cowboys off because they always find a way to choke, but they look good too. As far as the NFC goes, those are your 3 teams that's going to be a problem. And I don't see us playing any of those 3 teams no time soon. You can win 14 games with this team that the way it's set up right now. But you got to get the ball around the field. You cannot just run and have 11 or 15 or 18 throwing for 116 yards. You need to throw for about 216, 275, 300 yards. If you get up to those numbers, this team is unstoppable. And I know some people may not agree with that, but I'm dead serious. There's nobody stopping a team that can throw the ball, run the ball, and play this type of defense. If you can get 2 or 3 turnovers a game and you can control the clock, and not only that, get some passing in this offense, we're going to be a complete problem. Now, I stand by that, and I will sit by that. Now, I'm not saying that they get hype. I understand that people may disagree, but I'm telling you, that's my opinion, and I stick by it. Now, the downside of this will be a part of stock up and stock down, which we will start right now. Now, one thing I will say, as far as stock up, stock down, I might need an intro to go into stock up, stock down, because I kind of like this little segment that I want to do. So that may be in the works this week. So be on the lookout for that. But as far as stock up, stock down, we're going to have to go into the college rankings. The college rankings definitely going to be stock up is my main man, Brian Ellis for Georgia Southern. Phenomenal job of calling the plays against UAB. We win that game 49-35. That game should not have been as close, but I will defer that to some of the decision making of Coach Clay Helton. I wish he wouldn't have he should have took some penalties, declined some penalties. He gave UAB some momentum. But other than that, this offensive coordinator right here done a great job of keeping us on our toes as we went through the game. Continuously was able to move the ball with some exotic plays, running back passing play. Excuse me. You also had some great runs that confused UAB's defense. Great passing by Davis Brin. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better game that was called offensively. Put up 49 points against a team that is fairly good on defense. We snapped the 12-game win streak that UAB had. Great job by Coach Brian Ellis. Stock is definitely up on him. Watch him. Me personally, if anything was to happen, Coach Clay Helton moves on to another team, or whatever the case may be, I want this guy to be our head coach going into that transition. But I would not be surprised if another team tried to get this guy. I would not be surprised. He has done a great job, not even from this year, but last year as well. Phenomenal job making Kyle Van Cheesel like the top quarterback in the country. And they're about to do the same thing with Davis Brin. Now, let's go on the stock down. What is the stock down? Coach Arthur Smith. Why do I say it's stock down on Coach Arthur Smith? Coach Arthur Smith play calling in the passing game is way too conservative, in my opinion. This is not necessarily saying that he's doing anything like completely bad, but you drafted Kyle Pitts at number 8. No, number 4. Yeah, it's number 4. Wow. and you draft Drake London at number 8, and you get nothing out of them this game. Now, not saying that he doesn't do this, because you look at last year, Drake London, when him and Desmond Ridder was together, Drake London had like 9, 10, 11 targets per game in those 4 games. I think the lowest was like 8 targets, the highest was like 12. So he did get the targets last season. Now, I wanted to see that going into this game. Like I said, you get this guy that many targets. You get Kyle Pitts 7 to 8 targets. You get Jonnu Smith 5, 6 targets. Those guys get the ball like that, this team will win 14 games. I will stand by that. You may think I'm crazy, but I'm sticking with it. 14 games they will win, because this team, the way they're playing is they play phenomenal. They play phenomenal. So this is what you need. But the fact you only threw the ball 18 times, I mean, you were very efficient. I mean, I think it was a 15 to 18. I mean, you was like, it was 83% passing. That's unheard of. Now, if you take that 18 attempts, bring it up to about 28 to 35 attempts at 70 something percent of passing, this game could have been like a 40 to 10 game. Because you got to think about it. Second half, when he did throw the ball to Kyle Pitts, look what happened. Kyle Pitts found a way to get the ball, went through 2 defenders to get the ball. We need more of that. Now, it doesn't mean that Coach Arthur Smith is doing anything wrong, anything crazy, because I know a lot of people are criticizing him. But my thing is, his stock is down because there's room for improvement. And I know it's hard to say that you won the game by 2 touchdowns. I said this game could have been a 17-plus game win. This is the reason why we should have been blowing the doors off this team, especially when we knew what we had in the second half. So overall, I feel that he did a good job. The title in the podcast tells you they played a masterful game against the Panthers. Just being honest, it was a great game. I mean, what more could you ask for? High percentage passing, ran the ball very well. Defense got takeaways. What more could you ask for? But when you look at what the defining moment or the problem with this team, you need to throw the ball about 25 to 30 times a game. If you can do that, you can probably put up 35, 40 points. We're looking at a 2016 type of performance by this team collectively, where we could put up 35, 40 points a game. So not to take anything away overall, but I think that's where the problem lies when it comes to stock up, stock down. Brian Ellis, a phenomenal job. Coach Arthur Smith, more to be desired. And I'll just basically, I'll stick with that. I mean, there's no other way around it. I'll stick with it. So that's going to be the end of the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this commentary, hit that like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What do you guys think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Masterful game, poor game, terrible game? What do you think about this game that they played against the Panthers? What do you think about my stock up, stock down? If you've been watching Georgia Southern football, Brian Ellis did a great job at calling the game. And I'll say Coach Arthur Smith did a good job calling the game too. Just like I said, much more to be desired. I mean, you can't really knock the numbers. You really can't knock the win. But I would like to see him get the ball to the receivers a little bit more. So I'm going to get up out of here. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up on Twitter. I am at Twitter X at VFBaller. The website is firstandframerace.com. Hit that like button, please. Let people know what we're doing over here, and so we can grow this podcast. Also, if you're on the YouTube or if you're on the podcast side of things, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating on that Apple Podcast. Also, let people know, share this podcast, and we're going to help this podcast grow. And it's all thanks to you guys. I'm going to get up out of here. I'll see you guys for the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.